Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0 and ArrowFM. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey!
We're going to roll straight into Hell in a Cell. We got 8 big matches. Pretty much looking at all of them, they're all big money matches. So we'll start off with the Tag Team Championships. Let's go with Raw. Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre taking on Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
And I'm not surprised, especially since I was seeing advertisements of this as a tag team main event for a local show, though not for the tag team titles because Drew and Dolph hadn't won them yet.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It makes total and utter sense. Do I think Rollins and Ambrose will win it? Possibly for the novelty factor.
Yeah, and put all the gold on the Shield. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I could definitely see. Would I enjoy it? It depends what they're gonna do with it. But I am 100% for seeing WWE going with the novelty factor of having all of the championships on the Shield, especially with this whole the entire roster against them sort of storyline that they're going with. Yeah. I predict that the Shield will walk out with all of the gold at the end of this pay-per-view.
Alright, so let's go with the Shield winning then.
Be interesting. Be a very short reign for Ziggler and McIntyre, though, sadly. I'm taking the gold off my boy Drew, and it hurts, but I gotta go with it for the novelty, man. Smackdown Tag Team Championships. Bit of a surprise in this match. The New Day going up against Rusev Day.
Yeah, that was the last team I would have expected to win. Well, it could be in Rusev's Day moment, or it could be a big bomb.
Can't you just let me chant new champs in peace? All we want is
that doesn't work for Rusev Day. That works for New Day. New champs. New champs. I'd love to see Rusev Day win it, but I just don't believe. Until I see it, I don't believe.
We say that every single time Rusev and Rusev Day is up for any championship. It's always, we'll see. And I don't think they've come up victorious in any of those opportunities. I think somebody said that Rusev had like a shot at every single male championship on SmackDown now, like in the last short while. It would be the SmackDown Tag Champs, obviously the WWE Championship and the US title as well. Also had a match with The Undertaker and was in the Money in the Bank match. Arguably, Rusev's had a good year.
Except how many of those matches has he actually won?
Absolutely zero. But he's been featured pretty well. He's just going to be the perennial loser. But he's almost there, and we're going to cheer like hell and hope he wins. Obviously, prior to this match, a lot of us were in the camp of the Bar, expecting them to be the ones going up against the New Day. There was also some people in the Sanity camp, obviously before the first round matchup in the tournament. And I think you're right. I think Rusev Day was the least likely one if we were to sit down and make predictions. But that just makes it all the more fun if they walk out with the championship, coming up from a space where nobody even expected them to be in the match, to winning the match, to holding the SmackDown tag titles. Because I think,
most definitely,
as we always talk about with SmackDown Tag Team Division, it's just so deep and you never know where the next feud's coming from.
Yep.
So honestly, either tag team, I don't know what would be in their future. And there's like 7 teams that you could line up that would all put on fabulous feuds with them. So SmackDown Tag Team Division continues to get 2 thumbs up. Let's move on to the only match, other than the mixed tag match, to not feature a championship. Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, it's in the cell.
Yeah, this was an unusual match to end up in the cell, especially considering how hot the WWE Championship feud has been.
This one clearly comes down to Jeff wanted to do a cell match. I feel like it definitely stole the cell match away from AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. I feel like those two deserved it.
Yeah, but in the end, I'm not going to blame them for giving Jeff his last hurrah, because he is in bad shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I look forward to seeing the Swanton Bomb off the top of the cell that we're going to see. And I agree with you. I think Jeff Hardy's days are numbered. So I guess we're going to get as much out of him and tick as many boxes for him as we can between now and when his time is up. Orton Hardy, honestly, they would be third on my list. So it's not like they don't deserve the cell. It's still a pretty personal feud. It just feels like it does fall in behind Styles Joe on the Smackdown side. But it's still been a pretty damn good build. I don't know where Nakamura sits in all of this. As of right now, he's not booked for the show. And it seemed as though this was almost a triple threat feud. And it's like Randy and Jeff was a feud, but Shinsuke Jeff was a feud. And then this week on SmackDown, Shinsuke and Jeff. And I don't know, man. It just seems real weird for this three-way feud to be played out in the way that it is. Again, no complaints. It just seems weird. Who do you have walking out of the cell here as the winner?
Randy Orton.
Do you have Jeff walking out the cell on his own ability at all?
Probably just barely.
Maybe.
What it would be incredibly dangerous to do, but I would love to see an RKO out of that's inevitable Swanton Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
That would be insane, but that would be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for Jeff to not be walking out of that cell.
That'd be a recipe for Randy Orton not to walk out either.
True. It'd be a recipe for the pay-per-view to just get real dark and weird, where both of them sort of need help to do anything and stretches are... Let's not talk about that possibility. It's going to be a good match, and Randy Orton's going to walk out the victor, because he needs it a little bit more than Jeff Hardy, as we said, whose days are numbered. But we'll tick a good old box for Jeff Boy. The other match, not for a championship, it's the mixed tag team match. Daniel Bryan and Brie taking on Miz and Maurice, continuing this Daniel Bryan and Miz feud.
This is just another step along the way. We're going to get there. We just got to get there.
And it's going to be good.
Yep. Yeah, Daniel Bryan and Miz will probably do most of the work anyway in this match.
Brie and Maurice obviously going one-on-one this week on SmackDown, not ending in a very clean finish. Some people expect a rematch at Evolution for the one-on-one, depending on how much weight you put behind internet rumors. May happen, may not happen. But we're still... Every pay-per-view between now and WrestleMania seems like we're just trudging along to this Daniel Bryan-Miz match that's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Number 2. In terms of this match, I agree Daniel Bryan and The Miz are probably going to put in a whole lot of the work. Whoever ends up winning it, I'm going to assume it'll end with that cliched mixed match ending where, you know, like the two of them put in a submission move or the two of them do a finisher next to each other. Something like that. And it'll probably be fair.
Now, I expect Maurice and Miz to steal this.
Okay.
Because that benefits and continues the feud.
True.
Daniel Bryan and Brie winning does nothing but ends the feud.
You're putting too much psychology into this for a sick person.
Well, I'm feeling much better than I have been the last few days. Also, you have to remember Daniel Bryan and The Miz will have a number 1 contendership match here in a couple weeks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Super Showdown. So, yeah, I guess it comes down to, is this build going to make complete and utter storyline sense? Or are we just going to say that they're going to keep fighting because they're going to keep fighting? It'll be interesting to see how it continues, because obviously we're going to have to stall for 5 odd months. It is a hell of a stalling period. But I look forward to seeing this match and all of the other stalling matches.
Yeah. I need to look up.
Yeah. WrestleMania will be April, 4th month of the year. From here, we've got 3 more months in this year. So it's 6 to 7 months of stalling Daniel Bryan and The Miz are going to have to do, even though they had a damn good match at SummerSlam. Obviously, there's a couple pay-per-views, like we already know what they're going to be doing at Hell in a Cell, obviously. We know what they're going to be doing at Super Showdown. They're going to be having that number one contendership match between the two of them. Evolution, not sure. Maybe Brie and Maurice continue on a little bit. After that, it opens up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I've discovered a date that if AJ loses the title before he breaks Punk's record, might actually occur on that date.
What you got?
October 16th.
You're gonna make me look it up?
WWE Smackdown episode 1000.
Yep.
The Miz has won a title on every major milestone episode in the last few years.
Okay.
Whether it was Raw 1000, SmackDown 900, Raw 25. Of course, the titles were all the Intercontinental title, but that's beyond this narrative.
The Miz will be drafted over to Raw and win the Intercontinental title on a SmackDown pay-per-view. Bring the title over. Yeah, I could see it. It depends how much weight, and I know they always put a lot. It depends on how much weight they're going to put behind Milestone SmackDown 1000. Generally, it's a hell of a lot of weight.
Yeah, I mean, the Miz won the Intercontinental Championship at Raw, his first one at Raw 1000, and then at Raw 25 he won his 8th.
One thing we do know about SmackDown 1000 is that it will probably not feature Batista. Bit of a side note there. Still not in a happy mood, the two of them. They just can't play together. Just got to keep them separated on opposite sides of the playpen. And that makes sense talking about it because Batista-Daniel Bryan thing at WrestleMania, it made sense. So you said Miz is winning, right?
Yeah.
Can you nail the exact finish for Miz and Maurice?
The power of the punch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think they're going to steal it. I don't know how, but I think that they're just going to steal the match.
Okay. Miz or Maurice with the win.
Yeah.
Alright, it's roughly time to get into our theme song. It gives us more time to talk about the big championship matches after the break. It's not actually a theme song this week. It's gonna be the song that will represent Hell in a Cell, whose name I'm getting up as we speak. It's called Glory. According to this link that you've dropped me, I'm gonna believe it. Enjoy that song now. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, Grady and Josh. Hope you enjoyed that song because we're about to get back down to Hell in a Cell. We got 4 more matches to talk about. Let's start with the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch. Who you got?
Charlotte.
You don't believe in the Becky.
No, I don't believe in the Becky.
You weren't standing behind her the whole time.
Hey, I said I wanted to see something different. I have seen something different. It's interesting, but you know what? I just don't see her winning the title.
Okay.
Maybe at Evolution, but not here.
Yeah, I expect this to not be a one and done. So I could see Evolution being the next stop for these two. It's been a fairly decent feud. As much as it's cliche, I still like Becky Lynch dressing up in mufti and sieves and hiding in the crowd and then attacking Charlotte. It's cliche, but I like it. I'm sorry. So yeah, I think it'll extend out a little bit. You might be right on Becky Lynch winning it later on, especially the way they're going, where sort of neither of them are heel, but both of them are heel. A little bit rocky on that sort of stage, so it's a case of let's get to Evolution, where I think we'll end up seeing this matchup again, and then we can discuss at that time what we think is going to happen. But yeah, for Hell in a Cell, we'll have Charlotte walking out with the title.
Yeah, she may not win the match, but she won't lose the title. Is what I'm thinking that it's either going to be a no contest happy finish, or Charlotte barely wins, then Becky flips out, and that continues.
Gotcha. Over the other Women's Championship, we got Raw. We got Ronda Rousey defending against Alexa Bliss.
Let's end Alexa Bliss's streak here.
I was gonna mention it, but I knew you would.
Ronda Rousey obviously wins.
Oh, what are you talking about? Clearly Alexa wins and defends it against Trish Stratus with Evolution. That's what we're going to see.
I'll be shocked if we see that.
I'm with you. I would be very shocked if Alexa Bliss wins this match. I fully expect Ronda Rousey to retain. I expect Ronda Rousey to go on to the most obvious matchup in the world, to headline Evolution. Alexa's going to have her little match with Trish. It's going to be a good match. Having so many, I'm going to call them all pay-per-views. Forgive me if they're not. Having so many pay-per-views, Hell in a Cell, Super Showdown, Evolution, in quick succession with all of their matches pretty much not necessarily all announced in the case of Evolution, but enough of the card announced ahead of time definitely telegraphs where they're headed. Like, I know I was saying Evolution is the next stop, but Charlotte...
The network is basically the pay-per-view.
True. I know I was saying Evolution was the next stop, but Charlotte Becky also going to be happening at Super Showdown as well. Sorry, I skip over it a little bit. So, yeah, it telegraphs just a little bit of where we're headed. Ronda Rousey obviously going to be busy teaming up with the Bella Twins against the Riot Squad for Super Showdown. As far as I know, Alexa isn't on the card just yet. May find herself into some inconsequential match. But yeah, I see Ronda Rousey continuing her streak of dominance. I see her continuing it for a little bit longer than Hell in a Cell. Quite possibly the most shocking thing within the grounds of realisticness that could happen would be Alexa Bliss winning the title here.
Should we give her a Dolph Ziggler's chance?
Let's give her half a Dolph Ziggler's chance. Which in theory means she now has twice the chance because somehow he did it.
Yes.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. The match we thought should be in the cell, the WWE Championship match, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. We are talking like it's already a foregone conclusion that Styles is retaining here.
Because Styles is going to retain.
But what if he didn't?
Man, the stuff that Samoa Joe has been doing, I really would like to see him hold the title, even if it's only going to be for a month. Because he's earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this has been a personal, but I just don't think they're going to pull the trigger. I really think it's going to be Miz that takes the title off of AJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the way that we've just constantly been hammering in the whole AJ Styles being champ forever thing, he has to break that record, unless maybe the Miz screws it up. But I still see him like that's his heading. And Miz taking the title off Styles is much more likely than Bryan taking the title off Joe.
And it probably will happen at the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
But the one point in which it could happen beforehand would be SmackDown 1000, because it happens right after the Super Show.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe when we get closer to Super Showdown, it will be more clear what that number one contendership entails. Whether it is you'll have your championship opportunity at the soonest possible availability, or whether it's going to be something that's going to be delayed upon delayed until the Rumble. Dunno. I still, just because it's such a major pay-per-view, I still have Rumble lined up. Let's AJ get that big number, and lets us continue along this Miz Bryan thing that, honestly, fingers crossed, and I'm going to put this out there, and it's going to put all the bad juju in the world, barring injury, will be some damn good match.
Of course. Of course it will be a great match.
I put the juju out there now. Someone's going to get injured. That's my fault, I'm sorry.
Well, likely Daniel Bryan.
Probably not The Miz, I will admit. I feel like we need to replay the Talking Smack clip about The Miz talking about his style and how he's never been injured. Yeah, please just dial it in a little bit, Brian. We gotta make it to WrestleMania. Please. It would be the biggest letdown in a long time if something happened that meant we couldn't get to where this is building. Last match on the card, Braun Strowman, he's cashed in his Money in the Money in the Bank briefcase. It will be a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Universal Championship, and as of Raw this week, Mick Foley gonna be the special guest referee.
This should be fun. Let these two just go absolutely ham in that cell, and let's see what we get. Because we've already gotten amazing matches from these two, so let's see what they can do with the cell. In the end, it is the big dog's yard until otherwise stated. And so I do see Braun Strowman becoming the third person to fail to win his cash-in.
Okay. Yeah, the whole cash-in aspect, I'm going to completely skip over. It seems like a little bit of a waste, but I guess we don't know what's going to happen prior to it and all this other stuff, whatever. Skipping over the cash-in, as you're right, these two have had some damn good classics. In pretty much every single stipulation you can think of, there was an ambulance match. Was there a last man standing, I feel like?
Yeah, I think there was, and I think Braun won that one.
They've had a lot of stipulation matches, and they have all been a cracker, an absolute good one. So I'm looking forward to Hell in a Cell that I think is going to follow that and be just as good, if not better. I don't quite know what Mick Foley as the special guest referee is going to add to it, other than the whole herp derp, it's Mick Foley in a cell.
I expect that cell structure is not going to come home whole. I expect somebody to go through it.
Okay.
Here in this match.
Is it Mick Foley?
This one has to go on last. Because of that.
Yeah. Is Mick Foley going to climb to the top as the referee and then just be thrown off on accident?
I hope not.
He was. I'm not saying Mick Foley is in being thrown off the top of the cell shape, because let's be honest, nobody's in that. Nobody should have to do that. But he looked in pretty good shape on Raw.
He's just... he looks a lot better than he did the last time we saw him. But let's not put him back in that shape again. Let's not undo that.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a bad idea.
At this age, and with his health, that might actually kill him.
Yeah, it's quite possible. We'll let him just play peaceful special guest referee. As I said, I don't know what his role is going to be in terms of what they can do with him. It seems weird to bring him...
It's possible that he may fill the Shawn Michaels role from the end of the Arrow match.
Yeah, it seems a bit weird to, bring him in and then not do anything with him. Like, if he was just to play it nice and clean, down the middle, no shenanigans, no nothing, it seems a little weird. So, we'll see. Maybe, because Mick's whole thing at the moment, or even, not even at the moment, prior to now, has been, I don't want to see you guys kill yourselves in the cell like I did. The cell is dangerous. Stop trying to go into the cell. So I could see almost a point where Mick is, trying to stop them from being too barbaric, or trying to, talk some sense into them. Try to be a bit of a voice of reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
But as you say, ultimately, Roman Reigns is going to be holding that Universal Championship at the end of the show. And this feud isn't over, obviously, with Super Show coming up. So, we'll see how we get there. Braun Strowman not going to be appearing at WWE Evolution. Will appear at Survivor Series, though, I would like to assume. Alright, well, that's all we got time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, or Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. And we'll see you all next week with the results of WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.